At this point, I've looked at movies, a television series, music, and sports. But one passion of mine I have yet to go into is poetry. I was thinking, which poem or poet should I analyze? And I couldn't decide. So what I'm going to do is I've got 3 poetry books here, each with a different associated poet. I'll assign each a number and randomly generate a number to decide on the poet. I'll then put the number of pages in the book in the number generator and look at the poem on that page. Firstly, here's the breakdown of books and their assigned number. Number 1 will be Charles Bukowski's The Pleasure of the Damned. Number 2 will be Allen Ginsberg's Collected Poems. Number 3 will be Edgar Allan Poe, Complete Stories and Poems. And the result was 2, which means I'm doing an Allen Ginsberg poem. So before I find the poem I'll analyze, I'll let you know a little bit about Ginsberg. He was a prominent figure of the Beat generation of writers back in the 50s. He was part of the scene with Jack Kerouac, Neil Cassidy, and William S. Burroughs. Probably best known for his poem Howl, which was brought to court for its alleged obscenity. This is what I like most about Ginsberg, is his stance against the sexually repressed views of Americans, particularly in the 50s. He always pushed the boundaries of what was deemed as acceptable and brought readers out of their comfort zones. One of my first encounters with his work was finding his poem Sphincter, and it being so ridiculous and absurd that I had to share it with others. I read it on my phone while sitting waiting for a class to start, so I showed it to one of my classmates, and then soon my phone was being passed around the whole class, with people reading it, followed by a snicker. The ability for an entire class of computer science students to briefly get into poetry was spectacular. So this book has 1,161 pages, and the number I landed on was 1100, which gives us this poem. "5 a.m. A land that lifts me above the clouds, into pure space, timeless, yeah, eternal. Breath transmuted into words, transmuted back to breath. In 100, 200 years, nearly immortal, Sappho's 26 centuries of cadenced breathing, beyond time, clocks, empires, bodies, cars, chariots, rocket ships, skyscrapers, nation empires, brass walls, polished marble, Inca artwork of the mind. But where's it come from? Inspiration? The muses drawing breath for you? God? Nah, don't believe it. You'll get entangled in heaven or hell. Guilt power? That makes the heart beat wake all night? Flooding mind with space echoing through future cities, Megalopolis or Cretan village? Zeus's birth cave, Lasithi Plains, Otsego County, farmhouse, Kansas front porch. Buddha's a help, promises ordinary mind no nirvana, coffee, alcohol, cocaine, mushrooms, marijuana, laughing gas. Nope, too heavy for this lightness lifts the brain into blue sky. At May dawn when birds start singing on East 12th Street. Where does it come from? Where does it go forever? May 1996. This is a pretty good one for my first foray into analyzing poems. Not too long, not too short, and with some great ideas that I believe are timeless. Broad strokes for my thoughts of the meaning. These are restless thoughts that we all have, whether 5 a.m. is supposed to be waking early and not falling back to sleep, or not falling asleep until 5 a.m. in the first place. Often what keeps us from falling to sleep is when our minds start racing and pondering questions we have no answers for. The meaning of life, existence of God, and ways to cope with all of it. Ginsberg's writing style lends very well to the rambling thoughts of the restless man as he uses the beat-style writing of stream of consciousness. Let's go through some of the lines and how I interpret them. This portion can be read as Ginsberg contemplating how far humanity has come in such a short time, going from primitive tools to space travel and other advances in technology. But why? Are we meant to know the vastness of space? And should we be concerned with anything beyond our necessities? Next he'll contemplate the source of this, but with just as few conclusions. Ginsberg then asks if a god could be the source of our advances, but quickly refutes this by concluding people who look to God for inspiration are more concerned with what's right and what's wrong, rather than just what is. This changes his train of thoughts to how being good or evil can weigh the conscience, keeping him awake. This furthers the cycle of questioning life in his restless moments. Finally, this part he started thinking of ways to help with his worried mind's restlessness. Looking to drugs to feel happy or ignorant of the world's many unanswered questions, caffeine to help him feel awake after a night with no sleep. Then the sounds of early morning come in as he asks his last broad questions, leaving the reader to wonder if he fell asleep or just decided to wake up with the dawn. This was a fun little adventure into poetry. Hope you all enjoyed it too. I will likely do something like this again sometime down the line. What did you think of the poem and my interpretation of it? What's your read on it? And in general, how do you feel about poetry? Thanks for watching.